Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today I thought we would talk about a new way I've got to load software on my Dragon 32 here. Now previously I've used this here to load the software on my Dragon 32. What this is just a little 7-inch tablet. It's cheap and cheerful thing. I picked up a job lot of these on eBay a couple of years ago. All solders not working, and I got most of them working. Not really worth selling anymore. It's completely outdated, but they are very, very useful for using for loading software on these older computers. Basically what I do is I use this to replace the old tape recorder that these computers would have originally used. I go online and I'll download a load of .cas files, which are the cassette files used in the emulators for the Dragon 32, and I will use a little program called cas to wav to convert them into a WAV file. And these, it's not particularly known, but these tablets with the Android operating system, as well as being able to play MP3s, they can also play WAV files. So all I do is put them on a little micro SD card and load that into the tablet, and we click on SD card there. You can see I've got a few directories in here. I've got one for my Sharp MZ700. I've actually got some more cards that I use for some of my other computers. I've got one loaded with Spectrum stuff, but I don't use that very often now because I've got a micro SD solution for my Spectrum Plus 3, and when I want to play Spectrum games generally I use that because it's pretty much instant loading. But anyway, we're not talking about that today. Today we're talking about the Dragon 32. So I have a directory here with Dragon games.wav. Oh, wrong directory there. Just there we go. And as you can see, I have all my Dragon 32 software in there. And how I load it is just like you'd load a normal cassette game. So you type C load M into the Dragon like that. I'll just put you across onto the screen. Now I will say I've got this Dragon today connected up to this modern LCD monitor. This isn't the monitor I normally use with this Dragon. The monitor I normally use with the Dragon is over there. It's that one there. But it's an old CRT monitor, and despite my best efforts, unfortunately, I've no longer got my decent camcorder that I was using for some of my videos. I won't go into that, but I've had to resort to one of my older cameras, and try as I might, I cannot get it to get a decent signal off a CRT monitor. So for now, I've connected it up to this LCD monitor. Now I will say, if you notice the screen at any time going to black and white, and you can notice this fuzz and it's not a very good picture, that is basically the Dragon. This Dragon really, it needs recapping. It's never had anything done to it as far as I'm aware. I've got a couple of Dragons. I think the other one's even still got its warranty seals on it. This one hasn't, because I've been inside it before. But basically it's still got all its original capacitors in it, and they do need doing. I said the image you get on it, you don't notice it as much on the CRT monitor, but you certainly do on this LCD. As you can see, like I said, there's some dot crawl on it. It's not a really good image, and it may go black and white because there's a loose connection in the Dragon, and every time when you're typing on the keyboard you lose colour. But the Dragon is still working, and it'll still do fine for this demonstration. Anyway, as I said, I've typed C load M like you would have used loading a cassette. You press enter. As you can see, you've got the S for searching, and then all you do is you press on whichever one file you want to load, and then if you see that is loading Chucky. There we go, Chucky Egg is loading, please wait. Now I won't let this all load now because I'm just demonstrating this is how I used to load all my software on my Dragon. It is effective. It's takes exactly the same amount of time as if you was using a cassette to load your Dragon up. But I've got a new solution for loading software on my Dragon now. I'll just stop that and I'll reset the Dragon, and we'll go back to the screen on the Dragon. Oh, it's not reset. Oh, there we go. It's going to black and white mode. It's not resetting it. Like I said, it really does need a service, this Dragon. I'll just switch it off and back on to get it back working again. There we go. I'll just give it a quick. There we go. Now, if you can see, I don't know how well this is coming out on this camera, but we've got the Dragon startup screen, copyright 1982, Dragon Data Limited, 16K basic interpreter, 1.0, copyright 1982 by Microsoft, but that's what you normally see on a Dragon. Then if you look underneath it, you can see it says SuperDOS E7T OK, and that's because this Dragon now has got a, well, you've seen it in the picture I've just shown you. This Dragon now has a disk drive. Now, back in the day when these computers were current, most people didn't have a disk drive. Over here in the UK, we was quite content to load software off cassette tape like that. That's something that's going to come up in another video. That's something I've got for the Dragon that I've had lying around for years, and I've never even tried it, so we'll try that in another video. Anyway, that's how we loaded the software, either like that or we used cartridges like that. That's a chess game that I've got for the Dragon. I've got quite a few of these cartridges, various games on them, and they're instant loading, obviously. And that was basically how most of us loaded our software on our Dragon computers. Now, if you was using your Dragon for business, and bear in mind that this wasn't really first of all marketed as a games computer, it was more designed as a home computer that you could use for everything. I mean, they did try and plug the games aspect of it, but it wasn't the best of games computers. It was actually quite a lot better for use as home computing for office tasks and stuff like that. And if you was using it for that, you would want a disk drive. So Dragon brought out a disk drive pack for it with a controller, which plugs into the cartridge slot on the side of the Dragon. But it was horrendously expensive. It was much more expensive than the Dragon computer itself. And consequently, not all that many of them really got sold, compared with the number of Dragons that got sold. That means that nowadays, when they do come up for sale, they sell for quite a premium. I've seen them sell for well over £100 on eBay for an original Dragon 32 or 64. It's basically the same thing. Disc controller cartridge. The disc drives themselves sell for a lot of money, which I don't really see why, because it is basically just a 5¼ inch disc drive in a box with Dragon on it. The cartridge is really what matters. Now, I wasn't really prepared to pay £100 plus for a disc controller cartridge for my Dragon. I think I paid £3 for two. Whoops. I think I paid. I've gone black and white again. If you tap on it in various places, it goes colour again. I think I paid £3 or £4. I think it was £3 for two of these things at a car boot sale. So I wasn't paying £100 plus for a disc controller for it. But what I found was, if you don't know, the Dragon 32 is basically a copy of the Tandy colour computer. I think it's a copy of the COCO 1. It might be a copy of the COCO 2, but yeah, it's basically a copy of the Tandy colour computer. It's slightly different. The memory addressing, I think, is slightly different on it. So the software isn't directly compatible, but you can make the TRS80 colour computer software mostly work on the Dragon. And it got me thinking to the cartridges. So I had a quick look on online, and I found out that although the Dragon disc the TRS80 disc cartridges aren't directly compatible with the Dragon, all you basically have to do is change the ROM in them for basically a hacked version of the Dragon DOS cartridge ROM, and you can use them on a Dragon. Now, well, I think you're thinking, well, surely they're as rare as the Dragon DOS cartridges. And that's true in the UK. In America, however, Americans were possibly a little less patient than us Brits, and they didn't really like loading their software off tapes. They preferred cartridges like we have, and they preferred discs. So disc cartridges for the Tandy Colour computer were a lot more common than disc cartridges for the Dragon 32. And obviously that means that there's still, even now, a lot more Tandy Colour computer disc cartridges available, than Dragon 32 cartridges. So I went online on eBay and I found a seller in the USA who had a Tandy Colour computer cartridge for sale, and it was £35 plus about £12 delivery. So I thought that's worth a go, so I bought that at £35. And well, I'll show you actually. Let me just switch the Dragon off. Switch it off from its power switch, and I'll unplug the cartridge and I'll show you. This is what I got for my £35. That is a oops, that's upside down. That is a Tandy TRS80 colour computer disk drive cartridge, and obviously that won't straight work on a Dragon. What I had to do was change the ROM inside it, so I'll just get a screwdriver and I'll open it up and show you what I've done. Now, this isn't anything that I've come up with. I found the instructions how to do this online. I'm sure if you search online for Tandy COCO disc cartridge in Dragon, you will find the information that I found. And basically I've just got it open, and inside it now looks like this. And what I've done is, there was a original Tandy mask ROM with the disk controller operating system on it, and I downloaded a version of the Dragon ROM which has been modified to work on these controllers, and I burnt it to a 2764 EEPROM. Now that's a 28-pin device, and the original ROM is a 24-pin device. Now there are EEPROMs you can get in a 24-pin package, which I think is a 2564, and don't quote me on that, but it's something like that, which is a 24-pin device and would go straight, you could burn it to it and put it straight in here. But I didn't have one of them. I've only got the 28-pin 2764s, which you can use. It's almost pin compatible. You just have to overhang the first 4 pins from the socket inside, and you have to hook power up, because then pins are no longer connected to power, and you have to hook up a few address lines which are in different places. It's only 2, it's only I think A11 and A12, and doing that you can get this 2764 EEPROM to work in this board, and that's what I've done here. I'll just put that back together and put it back in the computer. So we've got a Tandy TRS80 disc controller with a modified Dragon 32 disc controller ROM on board. Now I'll just connect this back up, and what this allows me to do, now I will say is this is not 100% compatible with all the original Dragon software. Things like the I think the modern version of it's called Nitro 9. It's a operating system for the Dragon. I don't think it'll work on a 32 anyway. I think it's only for the Dragon 64. But that addresses the disc controller in a different way to everything else. It bypasses the software on the cartridge and talks directly to the disc controller. Now the disc controller is actually different in these TRS80 cartridges than it is in the Dragon 32 cartridges. So there's certain software like that won't work, but 95%, probably 99% of Dragon software will work fine with this. It doesn't care, because it uses the protocols which are actually on board the ROM in the cartridge. So anyway, I've got that installed in the Dragon, and what I've got it connected up to is this disk drive here. Now this is the disk drive I use with my Amstrad CPC6128. It's a 3.5 inch 1.44 meg old PC disk drive, which I've modified in various ways. So basically it's set up as a single-sided disk drive. You can select either side 1 or side 2 separately. In the way I have it set up with the Amstrad, you can also select between drive A and drive B, but in this application that's not really necessary. I've just got it set up so the top head, drive 1, side 1 of the head is activated, so it's just acting as a single-sided double density disk drive. Pretty much what you would have had, but it would have been 5 1/4 inch, but it would be the cheapest most basic setup you would have had back in the day with a Dragon. If you had a single disk drive, you had the cheapest option, it would have been a single-sided disk drive. This basically is just a modern version of it, and it allows us basically to get software onto this Dragon, but using a personal computer, a modern PC, well, a modern-ish PC. What we've got is we've got this old laptop here. Now what this is, it's I think it's from about the year 2000. I don't know, to be honest, I can't even remember its proper specs. I think it's got an AMD processor in it, and it's from about the year 2000. It was designed to run with Windows ME. I've got it running Windows 98, and I've got Windows 98 set up so it runs boots to DOS, and then you can boot to Windows from DOS. But it's a really useful laptop to have because it's got a 3.5 inch disk drive on it. It's also got USB ports on it. With obviously Windows 98 set up the way it is, you can run all the MS-DOS software you want on it. You can also take advantage of the Windows USB support, so it's easy to get software onto it. It's got other things like it's got PCIe slots on the side of it, which are handy for getting software onto older laptops. It's just a handy, I think they refer to them as a tweener. It's a handy laptop to get between old and new stuff. I may get it to dual boot between 98 and XP, because it will happily run XP. I think it's about a 750 MHz processor in it. But at the moment it's just running Windows 98, and that is how I am getting software off the internet and onto this Dragon here now. Basically what I do is I download Dragon disk images as VDK files, and let me just get the laptop up and booted up. It shouldn't take a second. I don't think it was shut down. Let's have a look. There we go, that's the, oh, it's shutting down, oh no. Well, I've just booted that down, so while that loads up, we'll go on to something else. First thing we need to do is, we need to format some floppy drives, some floppy disks, so they're in the correct format for the Dragon. And the easiest way of doing that is actually on the Dragon itself. So I've got, these are all actually old double density Amiga discs, which I've checked and formatted, and they're okay, there's no bad sectors on them, so these are good to use. And what we're going to do, let me just get that into Windows. So I'm just booting the laptop up while I talk to you here. We're going to format one of these discs on the Dragon, so let's get the Dragon switch back on. There we go. I'll move you over to the Dragon there, and what we do is we put one of these discs in, and we type DSKINIT, which is disk init. Press enter, and then as we see, hopefully you can hear that, the disk drive is chugging away. We'll go back to the screen. Now when the disc's finished, it will tell us. Hopefully this disc will format okay, because it has been tested on the PC and it showed no bad sectors. So hopefully once this is formatted, it will tell us an OK, and we can get on to the next part of the process. It takes about 40 seconds to a minute, I think, to format a disc on these old Dragons. It's not exactly super quick, but loading the software once this is done, there we go. It's come up okay, so that disc is formatted all right. So we move back over to the Dragon. So we take that disc out and we put that disc in the laptop. Now can you see, I'll just move over, let me just move the camera over to the laptop so you can see what I'm doing on the laptop. Probably the best thing to do. Right, so what we've got on this laptop is, these are all VDK files of various different games for the Dragon 32. So we select them. So if we, I've just got these on a USB stick. I've took these off my laptop because this hasn't got an internet connection onto it. It's no Wi-Fi in it. I could connect it to the internet, but there's no real point. I might as well use a modern laptop for that. And like I say, I just use this for going between the two. What I've got on the hard drive on here is a program called VCopy. Now this is an MS-DOS program which allows you to copy disk images for the Dragon 32 onto a disk format that the Dragon 32 can read. So you have to format the disk on the Dragon 32, it then copies the file across onto that disk. So you saw me format it on the Dragon 32, I've put that disk in this drive. Now I've selected all them disk images. This is why it's useful to have something like Windows 98 booting between Windows and DOS. And then all we do is we paste them into that file there. There we go, we've got all the VDK disk images in this file. Now what we do is we shut down Windows and go into DOS. Restart in MS-DOS mode. Right, now CD / and then we go CD there we go, CD VCopy, and then we do a dir. Then we can see we've got VCopy there, and we've got all them VDK files. Now what we will do is we will write one of them to the disk we've got in the drive, and to do that all we type is VCopy. Then it's which one shall we try? Shall we try, I don't know what a lot of these games are. Let's try Utopia. So what we type is VCopy utopia.vdk to a:. Press enter. Now it's looking at the disk. It's coming up that the disk isn't suitably formatted, so we must have when we formatted it before, because this drive can format between the two sides of the drive. We've obviously formatted the wrong side of the disk when we formatted it before. So what we'll do is we'll put it back in the Dragon 32. Just shows that I do this completely on the fly and we all make mistakes. So I've put that disc back in the Dragon 32. We'll flick the drive selector switch back over to the other side. Then we will do the disk init again. DSKINIT. press enter, and what this will do is this will format the other side of the, let's just see if we can get that back into green. There we go. Yeah, I really will have to fix that. Yeah, so what we're doing now is we're formatting the other side of the drive. Like I said, this disk drive isn't set up as a double-sided, double-density disk drive. It's set up as a single-sided disk drive. So what we're having to do is we're having to format the other side of the disk, because obviously the PC that we're using only sees the disk as a single-sided disk as well, but it's obviously formatting to the other side, copying it to the other side of the disk, not the side that we just formatted. So hopefully this will format, and we can yes, that's formatted okay. So then we can get back to where we were. Let me move you back to the laptop. Like I say, it just shows that this is completely unscripted. So there we've got the disk. We've formatted the other side of this disk now. Now we've put the disk in the drive, and that you normally wouldn't have that problem. It's just purely because I have that disk drive modified for use with the Amstrad. We can type that back in, press enter now, and hopefully this time it will let us copy. There we go. Disk in drive A will be overwritten, proceed. So we press yes and enter. As you can see that going up. It really is quite fast copying these discs on the PC side of this anyway. Like I said, the dragging is obviously considerably slower. There we go, that's copy completed. So hopefully we now have whatever that software is. Like I said, I don't actually know what it is, but we hopefully have Utopia for the Dragon 32 copied off the PC onto this floppy disk here. So what we will do is we'll go back to the Dragon. I will show you on the, so this is me putting this disk that we've just made on the PC into the disk drive on the Dragon. I'll swing you around so you can see the screen, and what we will do is, it's kind of like MS-DOS, the Dragon DOS. We can type dir, and dir will tell us, let's see if I can get you a better shot on that screen. dir will tell us what is on that disk. So I promise one of my future videos is going to be how to service a Dragon 32 so it doesn't keep going black and white. Anyway, we've typed dir, we press enter. You heard the disk go there, and we've got utopia.bas. So let's try this. All we type is load, put the quotes in, utopia.bas, close the quotes and press enter. Now I'm sure you can hear the disk chugging away there. Let's see what's going to load up. Now I will say that not every piece of software that I have downloaded off the internet has actually worked. Quite a few don't work at all. It's hit and miss, but like I said, it's all part of the fun, that. I think we may actually have one that doesn't work here. Nope, I don't think that's going to work. We'll try it one more time, but I don't think that's going to work. So we type oh. Let's try that again. Let's see if this is going to load this time. Yes, there we go. It's done something anyway. And it's crashed. Like I said, not every bit of this software works. That's obviously not happy, that piece of software. But there's lots of come on, there we go. There's lots of software out there for you to try. It's just a case of downloading what you can and finding out what works or not. Let's just reset the Dragon. But anyway, just to show you something actually loading, I do have some discs here. So these are ones I made earlier. I can't actually remember what's on each one, but let's try one of these discs and let's see what happens when I load one of these discs in. I think you're just going to have to live with the pulsing black and white screen there. It's decided. There we go. Oh, that is it's a software for manipulating discs. Let me see if there's anything else that I've got. Ah, Mr. Dig. Here, let's have a look at this. So, load Mr. Dig.bin, because this is a binary file. Press enter. Okay, then what you have to do is type execute, which is abbreviator EXEC. Press enter, and here we go. We've got Mr. Dig. Now you saw how fast that loaded. That's certainly quicker than if you was loading. There won't be any sound because I've not actually got the audio hooked up to this monitor. Like I said, I was just connect it up so you could actually see what happened on screen. But yeah, basically that is how I am now managing to load software on my Dragon 32 using a Tandy COCO computer floppy disk controller. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. Apologies for it being so long since I made a video, but I've had lots of things happening in my life. I've had a few illnesses, and I'm not going to go into any of that, but suffice to say, hopefully I am back making videos. There's obviously going to be a video coming up very, very soon on me servicing this computer and actually stopping it going into black and white. I've got a sick Commodore VIC-20 at the moment, which fails after 10 minutes, so I think we'll be having a look at that, and various other projects I've been working on. Yes, that's another one that's in the pipeline. Hopefully I'll be able to get a better camera again soon, because like I said, this camera is it's not good. It's only just about high definition, and it's no zoom on it or anything like that. It's automatic focus. It's bloody horrible, to be honest. But anyway, I digress. I'm going to leave it at that. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.